guys, I'm with Sad and Dare. This week is Better Decisions Week, and we're starting the week off with this big red ribbon drawn around the clock, which means the power to make a better decision. So I hope you guys enjoy the week and make better decisions.
This whole week is about a group of high school students coming together and realizing their power to make better decisions.
Okay, I would want to be drug-free because there's so many side effects to it. I mean, it's obviously illegal, and I don't really see the point of getting high, I guess, on drugs.
I choose to be safe because
be safe.
I'm not gonna try anymore because I suck at it.
Someone already did from Sad and Dare.
I suck at this.
I'm getting a 360 right now.
man up in there. You better tag me in that or something. Take a flash picture.
To be drug-free, I guess it's just you're clear, you can talk to people better, you have a lot more friends because most people would accept not doing drugs than accept doing drugs.
To be above the influence to me is to be safe and to keep other people safe. Being president of Sad and Dare has given me many opportunities to help others as well as help myself.
Okay, now can you swing it just once?
Going in, death follows. Member, junior, senior. Death follows.
Am I supposed to go change him?
No matter how high and mighty we feel, we got to remember that none of us are invincible. What you see here today could really happen to anybody, and we want to get it in your head that maybe those 2 drinks you had at a party are really too much for you to be driving your friends home. Along with being a freshman in college, we will be faced with lots of challenges, not only like the extra workload or being away from home, but in the decisions that we'll have to make. Remember that one wrong decision in any of these situations could lead to fatal outcomes. And as I said, 1 drink is all it really takes. Now you might be out here today and thinking, oh, this could never happen to me. I'm a lucky person, I don't know. But when you say that, you're taking the invincible role. And no matter how unstoppable we may feel as seniors, we have to remember that by no means are we invincible. And we hope that you today take it to heart that when you're faced with these potentially harmful decisions in the future, that you make the safe and healthy choice. And finally, we ask that you treat this situation with maturity and respect for all those involved today. And thank you very much.
Hey, Chris!
He's probably riding your butt just to annoy you.
Tell me about it. It's so good. Just ignore him. Trust me, I will.
Hey, turn the music down. It's Meredith. Colby, give me my phone back. Oh, come on. You got it on my shirt.
Hey,
Okay, we're pulling in. Where are you guys?
We're just passing the school now. We'll be there in a few minutes.
Okay, hurry. We don't want to walk in without you.
Cool, let's bridge.
Jamie, just chill.
Dude, the girls are waiting.
Jim, stop!
Danielle, watch out!
Someone help us!
Danielle!
Rip! Rip! Oh my God, Rip! Rip! Oh! Oh!
Where are you at? I'm in front of the high school. Which high school? I'm in okay, look at the mirror. You're in front of the Sebastian or the Vero high school. Okay, you are...
Just stand right there for me, okay? Anything you're involved in with the craft, serious injuries out there, okay? We have the belief there was some dramatic drinking going on in the vehicle, in front of several vehicles, and the smell of the beer in the breath. Have any drinking with you?
Okay, we're going to do now is called the walk and turn. Okay? What I want you to do while we're preparing to do this is I want you to stand, your arms down by your side, just like this. Okay? I want you to put one foot in front of the other. Okay, which foot you start with? Go ahead. You may begin whenever you want. Okay, what I want you to do is I want you to start with the letter G into the letter R and don't sing, okay? Begin whenever you want. clearly under the influence. It's a very serious crash. I don't know how many people died, but you're under arrest now for driving under the influence. Just relax. Do not resist me in any way. If you resist, you will be going down on the ground. I will take you down.
I'm Dr. Tremmel. I'm an emergency physician at Indian River Medical Center. And although this is a mock DUI with simulated things, just think about a couple things. You saw those cars out there, right? They didn't just make those cars. Those cars, there were actual real people in those cars when those cars were wrecked. So even though the people in there today were not real, the cars that were in the accidents were real. And unfortunately, although the injuries and the people that you saw in the injuries were faking it or pretending, that unfortunately most of you will be touched by some kind of accident like this in your life. When I was in high school up in Connecticut, a friend of mine had been to a cake party with a couple of his buddies. And when I went back for a couple of reunions, 10th reunion, 25th reunion, everyone kind of looks at each other. Some people look good, some people look old. You know, remember this, remember that. Where do you live? What are you doing? But at some point, someone always mentions, do you remember Steve Dixon? And you're all like, yeah, I remember Steve. Steve was a kid that lived next door to my Aunt Julie, and him and his buddies after the cake party decided to go down to the beach. And they missed a curve heading down to the beach and ran into a tree at 80 miles an hour. And Steve was killed instantly. And 25 years later, we still kind of remember. And when I go up there with my family and we drive down to the beach, the tree that Steve hit is still there. And there's no bark on that side of the tree, but other than the bark missing, there's no indications that Steve had ever hit that tree.
Grandparents came for one of the patients that we flew down to Longwood.
Oh, which patient is that?
That was Austin Fletcher. And he died on the way to the hospital.
So Austin's definitely not here, right? And he was flown out to the trauma center?
Yes, he was flown to the trauma center, and I just talked to Thomas down at the trauma center, and he died on the way there, and they were unable to provide.
So they didn't know he went there and they're here, right?
They came here by accident. They came here thinking he got transported here.
Okay, and there's no doubt that it's Austin, correct?
All right.
Bring him in, please. Hi, I'm Dr. Tremmel. I'm one of the emergency room doctors, and you are Austin's grandmother and
Austin's
grandfather. I don't know if they told you, Austin is not here at this hospital. He had suffered severe injuries, so they flew him in a helicopter to the local trauma center. So he is not here.
How did we get there?
We can arrange to have you sent up there, but I need to tell you, due to Austin's injuries, he has died.
Oh my God, I have to call his mother.
We'll help you out get transportation and have his family come. I'm very sorry.
Good morning. My name is David Dodd. I'm one of the local prosecuting attorneys. I'm here today to talk to you not about necessarily the victims and their injuries, but about Jamie and what he's going to go through in the next 2 to 3 years after this accident. You see, what you saw outside is tragedy, but it's also a crime scene. There's an investigation that'll follow, aside from what you saw here in the field sobriety exercises. If you look closely, you saw police officers out there marking off the road, collecting evidence, collecting the beer cans. That's all part of the case that's going to come to me in my office in order to be able to prosecute Jamie. If you looked, you saw 2 white sheets out there. Those represented 2 dead high school students. There was a 3rd high school student who died on the way to the hospital on the helicopter. This is a serious crime, and it's going to be treated as so. Aside from the investigation that you saw, there's something else that will happen. Because of the serious nature of the injuries, the state has the right to take Jamie's blood in order to determine how much alcohol he was drinking. It's not a choice that Jamie has. The officer's going to take him over, sit him in the back of an ambulance, and explain, you've just killed some of your friends, and we're now going to take your blood. And the purpose of that is to determine how much you've been drinking. And if Jamie doesn't want to let him take the blood because he's afraid of what it'll show, the police and the paramedics have the right to hold him down and draw the blood by force. And that's what's going to happen. From there, Jamie's going to travel to the Indian River County Jail, where he's going to be booked in. He's a high school senior, he's most likely 18. He's going to get booked in, he's going to be charged with 3 counts of DUI manslaughter and 4 counts of DUI with serious bodily injury, because the state of Florida is going to treat each victim as a separate crime, even though it's only one crash. Jamie will meet with his attorney, talk over his options. Most likely, Jamie's going to decide that his best option is to plead to the judge and ask the judge for leniency. After all, Jamie's going to say, I never meant for this to happen. When I got in the car that night, I never wanted to hurt somebody. This was an accident. But it's not an accident. It's a crime.
My name is Michael Kessler, and I'm a DUI defense lawyer. In a kind moment, Mr. Dodd would probably tell you that I'm as good at this as anybody around the Treasure Coast. But these are very, very hard cases. Let me tell you a couple of things that you'd be looking at if it were you in Jamie's shoes. Somewhere in the audience today, somebody has the nicest, newest, most expensive car in the lot. Your tax dollars pay Mr. Dodd, I won't embarrass him with an actual number, but they pay him more a year to prosecute cases than that car is worth. And your family would have to pay me more for this case than Mr. Dodd makes in a year. Alcohol, a doctor would tell you, alcohol is a central nervous system depressant. That doesn't mean it makes you sad, it means it slows you down. For drivers, that means it slows down your reflexes. Mr. Dodd, Dr. Gaddis, no, I could talk to you all about alcohol, how it works, how it doesn't work, for hours. But let me leave you with this. This is a great program. I wish they did that at my school when I was in high school, because forever and ever my yearbook has a memorial page for 4 kids that died. I hope you all paid attention to the whole program this morning so that we don't have to do this with any of you for real tomorrow or any other time. Thank you all.
My name is Patty Warren, and I graduated from Vero Beach High School in 1987. I know you think that's ancient. I went to school with a lot of her parents. Cole's parents are really good friends of mine. This is disheartening. As staged as this was, and I heard kids laughing, and I know the majority of you did take it seriously, but I heard people snickering, and because I kind of sat back to listen to y'all. As staged as it was for you, it was real for me. Don't think you're invincible. I sat where you sat, and now I sit all the time. 2.5 years after high school, I was at University of Florida, and I was in a different car accident up there that pulled a vertebrae away from my spinal cord, and I came home, had to withdraw from school, and I was working part-time at a car dealership and going to physical therapy at the time. I was dating the used car manager, and my mom and I had been Christmas and birthday shopping. The crash happened a week before my 20th birthday, so I was 19. My mom and I had been Christmas and birthday shopping, and when we got home, my brother said that he called the guy I was dating. So I called him. I was still living at home then. I was 19, like I said. And I drove to his apartment, which was in Meadow Woods, which is now Panther Woods. It's a golf community off Feeder Road in Fort Pierce, between Vero and Fort Pierce. It had been raining really bad that night. The weather was not great, and that road's not very well lit. I took Feeder Road because I lived in West Vero, but I drove to his house and then parked in his garage because it was a condo and had the garage underneath. And everything else I'll tell you from the crash was from what I read from the reports. because I don't remember. I remember walking into his condo, and that's the last thing I remember. Which probably protected my brain and my mental status, because I don't know that I would get in a car if I could actually remember what happened. Well, what they didn't know, he had a passenger until they looked. One of my shoes and my purse were in the floorboard, and not very many girls go anywhere with one shoe, and certainly don't leave their purse in the car with somebody else. So that's probably, you know, what saved me. Well, he thought I had gone for help. He just kind of assumed it because he was knocked out. And they got him in the ambulance, and the EMT was a female that was getting in the ambulance, in the passenger side of the ambulance, thought she heard an animal on the other side of the car, and that was me. She saved my life. I have a scar right here in the middle where they put an IV in because it was dirty. And that's the minimal amount of the scars that I have. You heard Dr. Trimble talk about physical scars. Well, there's emotional scars. And yes, it's for the victim, and yes, it's for everybody that was involved, but you don't realize the domino effect, because my brother was in 10th grade at the time. My mom works here. My dad, it dominoes into everybody that you know, everybody that your brother knows, everybody that your parents know. It's not, it doesn't just affect you. I made a choice because I wanted a good life for myself. I'm not going to sit home and feel sorry for myself. I'm here today because I want you guys to make good choices. And I know that's kind of, a cliche. Make good choices. Everybody says that, make good choices. But really, choose what you want for the rest of your life. You don't want to spend it in a wheelchair. You don't want to spend it in prison. You don't want to spend it with the memories of killing close friends of yours. I mean, if you're ever faced with the opportunity to drink and drive or get in the car with somebody that's been drinking and driving, I hope me and my wheelchair go through your mind. Because it's not worth it, let me tell you. Everybody always asks after I talk what happened to the driver. He was knocked unconscious, but he was okay. And that's usually the way it happens. I don't know why. Thank you for listening.